Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now June 4th of 2022, and we're only getting closer to the 4th episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series on Disney Plus that is all set and ready to really further the overall conflict between both Kenobi and Darth Vader, to really show us exactly how that's going to grow in the series. We already know that there's been quite a lot of criticism based on episode 3 and what happened in that particular part of the actual series, which we'll begin talking about in just a little bit from now. But on top of all of this, there's been a lot of things happening between Moses Ingram as Reva and the Star Wars fandom and everything that comes in between. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that as of right now, they're working on over a dozen Star Wars projects as we speak, including the Ahsoka series, Mando Season 3 and 4, as well as the Bad Batch Season 2. There's a lot of things being worked on. I mean, we have Andor right around the corner that's going to debut on Disney Plus by August 31st, so we have that on the way as well. So there's a lot of things coming our way, all thanks to Disney CEO Bob Chapek making this all happen and allowing Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni to do exactly as they please with all of these new upcoming Star Wars TV shows. Now, on top of all of this, alright, a lot of people have been responding to the whole Moses Ingram situation and what happened on social media and exactly how it has caused, people like Jon Favreau to come out and talk about it, Ewan McGregor to come out and talk about it. As of now, Hayden really hasn't touched on it all that much, but one thing that really is going to surprise a lot of fans has a lot to do with George Lucas really placing his thoughts on the entire scenario of what's been going on with the Kenobi Backlash, and of course everything that's been going on with the Moses Ingram situation per se. Now, on top of that, with of course the Ahsoka Tano series now filming and being developed by both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they are currently focused on reviving Star Wars Legends in the biggest ways possible, with new shows to arrive on the Disney Plus platform. Now, it's described, however, that currently creator George Lucas was able to respond to the current Kenobi Backlash that was delivered by Disney CEO Bob Chapek when he was questioned about George Lucas's stance on the Kenobi series. Bob Chapek went on to reveal and state, "I spoke with George just a couple of days ago about the fans and their take on the series. What's been going on with Moses Ingram, and all George could say is that we as creators always try to do our best with these stories. I understand that I didn't have the biggest budget like a movie would have, which is why in the beginning I was really pushing for Kenobi to be a film instead of a series where we could actually have had bigger budget options to explore more possibilities. But involving Moses Ingram, she is somebody that everyone got along with on set, and it breaks our hearts of the type of messages that she was actually receiving online and on social media." Bob Chapek goes on to reveal about what George said by stating, "You get used to complicated feedback, especially with the feedback but from the prequel trilogy that I actually had to deal with, but the best way to handle that feedback, if negative, is to just remind yourself that you did the best thing that you could at the time, and you can always fix your mistakes moving forward to improve your creation. I always look at Star Wars like an art, and the actors are my brushes to create that art. I support what Mr. Harold and Mrs. Chow have been doing with the direction of the series, and I have been enjoying Moses Ingram's take on the character Reva." So let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, it's a very interesting thing of what Bob Chapek was able to say about what George Lucas said about the Kenobi series and how the fans are, or at least some of the fans, are really kind of raising their arms over the show. How he views essentially the actors and actresses as brushes to create an art. Now, that is a very interesting, way about saying it. But when you look at everything of what is happening with this show in particular, alright, is that some of the scripts from the movie, which were handled by Kathleen Kennedy, made its way into the Kenobi series. And that's why you have a lot of elements of Kathleen Kennedy, elements of Deborah Chow and Joby Harold all mixed together, bundled in one show. And I think that's exactly why the theme feels very disjointed at times. It feels very on and off. And this was the very last project that Kathleen Kennedy had a little bit of a hand in, because some of those scripts actually transferred over. So when you look at everything related to what George Lucas is saying here, is that he kind of really slightly touched on how the fans react to the prequels and how he dealt with that by just learning from your mistakes and focusing to move forward and just to kind of use that as motivation to evolve your creation, as he likes to say. Moving on. Now, he goes on to say that I support what Mr. Harold and Mrs. Chow have been doing with the direction of the series, and he's been enjoying Moses Ingram take on the character Reva, Disney CEO Bob Chapek says. This world is about exploring many different avenues that have yet to have been touched, and that's our aim to achieve. Chapek goes on to state of what Lucas actually said, and also made it clear with me that he does not support the fans' harmful comments against Moses Ingram, and believes that every kind soul should be treated fairly and equally. It's just unfortunate that something like this could actually happen and cannot be avoided, and is always bound to happen in this age. Bob Chapek then goes on to state and close, Lucas and I have been going over many projects of what's to come in the future, and we at Disney wanted to clear things up with how George felt about the entire problematic situation between Moses and some harmful fans in the community that had no reason to do this. It's been fun working with George, and we intend to actually do this moving forward to work with him again as well. Additionally, separate from what Chapek said about what George had told him about the Kenobi series and Moses Ingram, is that George is now getting ready to begin going on set for the Ahsoka Tano series to get ready to play a large role in directing key scenes of Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker in the Ahsoka series. So keep in mind, that's one really good thing to look forward to about George, is that he is going to be directing the scenes specifically that will involve Hayden in the Ahsoka show. So that's all going to have to do with Anakin Skywalker and everything to do with the Clone Wars flashbacks. There's going to be a lot of things in the Ahsoka show that's really going to define the series, to say the least. So the thing about Bob Chapek here and the entire Moses Ingram scenario, alright, I feel like that a lot of these actors, or even a lot of these creators, I feel, are being forced to actually talk about this. When I saw that Ewan McGregor, self-made video, it almost came off like Disney ordered him to talk about it, to kind of get the message out there. But I will agree, I don't really like the character of Reva all that much. There are moments where the character is well, portrayed, but for the most part, I'm just not really all up for the character. That's nothing against Moses Ingram as an actress, and I think that nobody should go against her personally, because she's just doing her job, and she's just doing what Joby Harold and others have written for the Kenobi show. So just keep that in mind there. It's kind of similar to how with the prequel trilogy, a lot of fans did not really like Hayden Christensen's dialogue and the way that he acted. But back then, it was George Lucas who was really pushing for Hayden to act that way and to deliver that dialogue. So that kind of puts things in perspective, It's all up to the writers at the end of the day of what they're doing with this show. And of course, what Kathleen Kennedy was pushing for with the original Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, and how parts of that transferred over to the series. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one from night to moon.